This review is on this pen right here. It's also an Esterbrook pen, pen number 555, called the Accountant. This pen I like for a lot of reasons. One is its appearance is rather simple, but kind of unique. There's a facet right here created in the stamping of the pen. It's got a relief cut there, which you can pick up a little bit, and on the other side, and of course it's got its vein there and a small little ink reservoir, and it's quite fine. The nib is very fine. I suspect they call it Accountant because it was used by accountants for posting in ledgers back in the day when accounting was done by paper. For comparison, here's the 314 relief. Here's the school nib 756, excuse me, and the globe oval point, excuse me, 788. So you can see it's somewhat smallish, not nearly as small as, say, the relief. It's a really fine nib, as I said. So if you're wanting to do some fine writing, narrow lines, this is a good one. Alright, today, Waterman, what do they call this now? Serenity Blue. That was a bad move on Waterman's part, I think. The new names for the inks, I think, are pretty silly. I liked Florida Blue much better. Alright. I'm putting almost no pressure on this nib. Can't remember how to spell accountant. Alright, I think that's about correct. As you can see, that's a really fine line. Let's just take one of my favorites, the 314, for comparison purposes here. I'll just write the name Esterbrook. There you go. The Accountant is not going to give you nearly as much variation. So perfect for posting in a ledger. Now this little nib will surprise you though, because let's just, I guess we'll write the word. That's really bad. There. Now isn't that surprising? So this goes from a line just as fine can be. I've got a little bit of paper fiber stuck in the tine there. Let's see if that's better. Just a really fine line to one that can get quite large with fairly moderate pressure. I'm not pushing down on this nib with all my might. It's a fairly small amount of pressure. No ink. So it's a unique nib in its what's the words I would like to use? The scope of the line variation from very, very fine, maybe the finest one I have. Let's maybe try it with a falcon just for laughs. Which also has some line variation, but I think that this Accountant has it beat on fineness. I would say definitely. So, really unique nib. If you have an opportunity to pick one of these up, I think it's one that's definitely worth having in your collection. If it was the only fine pointed nib you had, I think you'd do just fine. I honestly feel that way about the Falcon 48, I think, as well. But the 555 Accountant is even finer, and I think as such has even broader flexibility in its abilities than does the Falcon 48. So really like it, one of my favorites. And that Waterman Serenity Blue is a great ink as well, with dip pens, as you can see. Not a lot of feathering here, where the Falcon cut into the paper fibers. You see some. The Accountant 555, not as much, but even up here where the Relief 314, you have almost no feathering there because it's just such a gentle nib on the paper, no cutting of the fibers. It's good pen as well.